Hey, it's Adam with Tech Dive AV Club. We're in Movie Studio 17 Platinum, and the first thing we're going to do is highlight this picture-in-picture track and hit the delete key and get it out of our way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the Star Wars logo at the beginning of The Mandalorian. I've already flashed it up for you to have a reference. It's got a few different fun little things that make it simple to make, but it's got a lot of pieces to it. So let's get started. First off, you want to go to Titles and Text. And you're going to want to drag the sample default title, boom, right here to the timeline. And it says sample text. We're going to make it say Star Wars. And the font I'm choosing is just a knockoff Star Wars font. I think it's called Star Jedi. It's just because it looks like Star Wars. And that's what I'm trying to do, is prove that that's how this is a similar effect to what the Star Wars thing does. So let's find that here. Star Jedi. Boom, there we go. So first off, we need the letters to be black. So I'm going to take this cursor down here to the bottom left-hand corner, and then boom, now the text colors are black. Then we're going to go to, not the location, I'm sorry. Then we're going to go to Advanced, and we're going to scroll down. If you move anything, you can just double-click it and get it back to normal. The background, we want the background to be black too, but right now, see the checkerboard, that means the background's see-through. So we're going to move it up to black again. So now we got black letters on a black background. Even though you could see black already, that's because there was nothing in the frame, not because it was actually black. So that'll be a problem later on. You'll see why. Then outline, this is where the magic happens. So if you just move up the outline width a little bit, you'll see. What did I do? Well, that's funny. So I've added the bounce animation. I didn't mean to do that. If you've accidentally added an animation, just go back to none there at this animation thing. I was wondering, I noticed I clicked something, but I wasn't sure what I clicked, and it's hard to talk and work at the same time. All right. And if you can customize this font however you want it to customize. But for us, this is going to be good enough for government work, and this outline color, outline width, I've noticed that all the way looks a little wonky, but thin's not that cool, kind of about middle way is about what I think it should look like. But white is the wrong color. We need this to be see-through, so we take this little panel at the end and we move it all the way to the checkerboard. Sorry, you can probably hear me talking through my nose, is because whole family's very sick lately, not the thing that everybody's talking about. Anyway, now the text is see-through. And while it might look a little wonky, that's not how we want it to look at all. We need something behind it to look really cool. So we need to go back to our Media Generators tab and go to Color Gradients, and we're going to pick something simple like soft red to white or something like that. Drop it underneath. Oh, wait, we can't do it underneath. Let's move this one up a level. So if you're new, you'll know that you should watch my video for new people. But this text, it says text, that's just a suggestion. It doesn't matter. You can put whatever you want underneath it. So boom, now we got some color gradient underneath it. And that's already a cool effect in and of itself. And if you select 2, for example, you can grab the little 2 up here. You can change the color of that 2. We can change that to like a blue, more striking blue. And then this red's already red. You can move how fast the gradient works in between them by just pushing them together. You can rotate them some. We're going to rotate it and push them a little closer together. So it's a little less purple, a little more blue and red. And so you can keyframe and animate these with this little animate button, and you can add more nodes and stuff, and delete nodes and add more colors. And whatever you want to do, you can change it to elliptical or rectangular, however you want to set up your gradient. Ooh, that's not how I want to set mine up. Every time I do that, and the other tutorial too, it did that. It messed it up when I moved them around. So we're going to keep ours with linear because I think that's more how it happens in the original. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make the words zoom in. So there's a lot more steps we got to do, but this is already a good start. We got that multicolor blue and red Star Wars there. So next, we're going to hit this media, generated media button, and this will edit the media again. And we're going to hit this keyframe button next to scale. And you don't have to do anything over here. You can actually go over here and deal with it. Let's hit this lock sync cursor to media, that means that where our cursor is on this timeline, it'll be on this timeline, and we're going to move it to the very beginning. So now we're messing with that first little keyframe here, and we want it to be smaller, and it needs to look as if it zooms in to focus. So at the very end here, at the very end keyframe, we want it as big as it's going to be. So now when we watch it back, you'll see it zoom. It might get a bit stuttery. If it gets a bit stuttery on you, what you can do is you can arrow through with the arrow keys, or you can do pre-rendering, which we talk about in another tutorial. There's all sorts of ways you can clean it up, or get a draft auto if you want it to. It'll look like garbage for a second, but I'll let you see the motion a little better. So we've got a zoom effect here. Go back to best full. And next we need the blur effect. So the blur effect, we just go to video effects and we type in Gaussian blur, or GA, and you'll get Gaussian blur here. And then you just drag on this medium blur. Drag on the default blur to it, and you'll see it gets super blurry. That's not what we want. You want to hit animate, and turn both of these animations on, because you'll need to keep these uniform and together. But you'll see something here. This keyframe, there we go. I want to be able to see that. We're doing the horizontal range and vertical range. We got the sync cursor to media still locked. We're going to go right here to the very beginning at that first keyframe, and we're going to do something very tiny. In the other tutorial, we found out that 0.2 looks the best, the best out of focus kind of blur. So 0.2, it looks far away, and then as you come in later down the timeline, we want it to hit focus about here. So then I'm going to zero them out, and when I do that, it'll auto create a new point on the timeline for both of these. And you'll see now, it zooms in, comes into focus, see? Stays in focus there. We'll hit the focal plane right about here. So that is that part of the effect. But now, how do we make these colors all dance around like they do? Well, first off, let's shorten this a little bit to about the time they hit into, a little bit past it, about the time it hits into the focal plane. There are other ways to do this. There's probably 9 different ways to do this. All right, so in the Vegas Pro version, I actually use the picture-in-picture effect, but the picture-in-picture effect for Movie Studio 17 doesn't have the rotation, so we're going to do it the good old-fashioned way. We're going to go to the Event Pan Crop, and we're going to do the same thing here. So at the beginning, we're going to make it a little bit bigger here. So that means we need the actual plane to be bigger than the field of view, which is right there. And then we're going to go to the end, and we're going to go right here to the edge, look for that spinning arrow, and we're going to rotate it. And we don't want it to end exactly how it started, but that should make the colors dance around. So if we arrow through, you'll see that the colors are moving and spinning. So how much they move and spin just depends on where you put everything in the gradient, how many times you spin it, how many keyframes you do. You can make that fancier, as fancy as you want. This is good enough for government work right now. And then the next thing we're going to do, so let's do one change. Let's make it zoom across the screen a little bit too on that same keyframe 4. It doesn't matter. We just want the colors to move and jockey around. So boom, we see the colors move and jockey. And then, okay, now it goes back to nothing. So how do we fix that? Well, we go to the Media Generators tab. We grab a solid color. We're just going to grab yellow and pop it underneath it, make it end when our text ends. And then we're going to change the color of the yellow just a little bit by we're just going to color, and we're going to move it to be a bit kind of a darker yellow. Shift the hue just a touch more mustard. I think that's a bit more of a Star Wars-y yellow. I'm just eyeballing it. You do what you want to do for the color, but that's how you add a different color. Then you can just kind of cross effect trade the colors here where it'll fade into that Star Wars yellow right around the same time. We designed it to be right around the same time we have a keyframe in here that it comes into focus. Also, what we want to do is if you want to change how the fade works, you can just right click on it, go to fade type, and you can pick any kind of fade you want. Make it a little more bleed out then bleed in the yellow, however you want to make that happen. So, and it doesn't matter if this effect media starts over because there's no keyframes on the media itself. So that is the Star Wars effect. We have it zooming, we have it wireframe only, we have it see-through, we have it colors dancing, we have the focal plane. That is the Star Wars zoom effect. That's how to do it in Movie Studio 17 Platinum. Thank you so much for watching. Like if this video helps you out, subscribe if you're looking for more videos like this one. I will see you next time.